My oldest daughter is getting ready to turn 27, which means I've been cooking for a really long time. And today we're going to talk about how it's still normal to screw it all up. I don't like to pretend that I am something that I'm not. A good cook is something that I would say, yeah, I'm a pretty good cook. I have over 27 years experience screwing it up. Here's the thing with cooking. Even when you're good, you still mess it up. We like to portray this life of Pinterest success, but really it's a series of Pinterest fails with a few successes thrown in. This is something that I laugh about with friends because it's so frustrating when you're trying to cook and do a good job and you buy all the ingredients and you want it to be successful and it bombs. One thing that I learned is that you can't make everybody happy. So even if you're a good cook, when you're a good cook and things come out well, especially in a large family, some people just aren't going to like it. And everybody's a critic. A couple of the special dietary issues that we've had with the kids are being gluten-free and really low sugar. Sugar and autism are not good friends, and so although I've always had a healthy diet, decreasing sugar or being very aware of it is something that is shocking when you start reading the labels. And it's equally shocking when you're trying to make your own items and you want them to taste great, obviously, and you're trying to reduce the amount of sugar. So that was one thing, and not this massively hard, awful thing, but something that you're constantly aware of because it's important. Another thing though is gluten-free. We had one daughter who needed to be gluten-free about 20 years ago, which was incredibly difficult because there just wasn't that much information. Now that we have a 9-year-old with juvenile arthritis, gluten, dairy, and sugar are the top 3 things we need to avoid. So just when you think you have your house really streamlined well, life throws you a curveball and you realize that maybe you're not as good at this as you thought. We already had streamlined so much in the way of sugar, and we had already streamlined so much in the way of eating healthy, and we had adopted pretty much a keto lifestyle. So when our daughter was diagnosed with juvenile arthritis, I thought, we've got a handle on this. The rheumatologist told us high fat, healthy protein, and low carbs, and I thought, well, that's keto. We're already doing it. But then we were told we needed to cut out red meat, and I thought, okay, that's gonna be pretty easy because we don't eat a ton of it. Wrong. Reduce sugar, which again, I thought, we got a handle on this because we're pretty good at it. And when you're nitpicking, I realized I was a little wrong. And that then we needed to cut out gluten. I didn't think it would be that hard because I did it 20 years ago. But we were trying to eat healthy in so many ways. No canola oil, lower sugar. So even though there are a lot of gluten-free options now in the stores, they use canola oil and they use a lot of sugar. So although it's healthy in the way that we needed it to be, because it was gluten-free, it wasn't healthy in other ways that we also wanted it to be. Figuring out that balance in our own home has been a little bit of a challenge. Let's just say I went to a party and a friend of mine made wedding cookies. Interestingly enough, I had an attempt at making wedding cookies just a couple days prior. I made them so exactly to the recipe as I kept looking at it, wondering where I made a mistake, that I did it a second time with a different recipe. I could say at this point that the reason that mine didn't come out well is because mine were gluten-free and hers were not. But I was using a gluten-free recipe. Another time I was making cookies, getting ready for Taven's birthday, and bringing cookies to school as a treat day, and I had another massive fail. I've made probably over a dozen types of cookies, and only a couple of them have turned out where I would actually want someone else to eat them. Because I think this is super humorous, I'm trying really hard to make great cookies for my daughter, and I'm making them healthy, and I'm doing all the things right, and I'm following the recipe, and still they bomb. Totally, completely bomb. It's become a running joke. As a matter of fact, my friend who made the wedding cookies that turned out well invited me to a party at her house, a potluck, and I asked her what I could bring, and she told me anything but cookies. I think it's awesome to realize that your life does not look like a Pinterest success ever. And often it looks like a massive Pinterest failure. There's a show called Nailed It that's dedicated just to people attempting to make things look right and having them come out pretty awful. I'm just here to tell you that balancing super healthy food that tastes incredibly good is a challenge. So don't be discouraged. Keep trying things out in your kitchen. Remember, there's lots of us making attempts, and we usually only post the good stuff online because we want people to see our successes. I'm here to tell you I will post my failures every single time just to keep it real. Have an awesome day.
If you've made it this far, click like, subscribe to the channel, and remember, every day's an adventure. Make it a great one.